So we are in Phoenix here. It's the 8th of September. I had my new batteries shipped to my daughter's place, and I picked them up this morning from her apartment. And as you can see here, I've done a whole bunch of labeling. I went chassis 1, chassis 2, minus, plus, and then this is house 1, house 2, house 3, house 4, and that's positive, negative, positive. Okay, so I did that, and I'm looking at that, which is kind of the scheme of the wiring. And I also watched RV Geek's change out video for their batteries, and theirs was like this, I think. Mine here, you can see they have the house negative on this one instead of that one, and here they put the inverter here and the house here. So I think I'm going to switch it back to there, but I'm just going to double check. I'm going to watch that video again, and I have some goofy things like, here's my little solar charger, and I mean, I don't have no big shutoffs for that or anything like that. It's just straight to this thing. I want to get that under control a bit better yet, I don't know, I might just not put it onto my new batteries until I figure out what's happening with it. And on my chassis batteries, I'm actually keeping, because they're actually working good, and everything's working good. I'm just going to take it off, clean it. I'm going to brush this thing down. I'm going to paint it. I'm going to get some new straps. My latch doesn't work. It's broken. I'm not going to really fix that, but I just have a pin. I use a pin that I stick in here that locks it to keep it from sliding when I'm driving. And so yeah, that's what I want to check out a little bit more before I take this all apart. And that's what we're going to do. I'm going to so anyway, here I got my trusty little ratchet here. It's my Husky. It's got a rubber base, so I won't be setting any making any fireworks, grounding anything out. And yeah, so I think we're going to tackle this. Okay, so here we are. All these wires. There's a freaking lot of them. So I actually put tape on all of the ends too. Not that, just I didn't want all of a sudden something to be goofy. But I've got to clean this out. There's a bunch of crap back there that's from these batteries. And anyway, so I'm not going to do I'm going to undo the chassis batteries tomorrow, because I got to go shower up and go to a volleyball game. But yeah, got this project on the way. Okay, so it's morning. I took the house batteries out. This is a bit of a disaster last night. I don't know what I was thinking. I actually, after taking it out, I put them back in, because obviously nothing worked. This is a project that you need to start and finish, otherwise it's a disaster. So we needed the air and stuff for night, so I put the 4 batteries back in, hooked them up, and got everything working again. And then it only took me about half an hour, and then we had a nice night of plugged in air conditioning. And I got up this morning, I'm almost back in the shade here. I'm going to sand this down. I'm going to paint it. A couple of these things I got to really clean up a bit, and I have things to fix that up. So I'm going to do that, and then get these things back in. Here's the old ones, and I'm going to reuse those. I'm just going to clean them up a bit because they're still in pretty good shape, and they're fairly new actually. And those things weren't that old either, but they were run dry. I tried rescuing them, but it didn't work. Anyway, I'll be back in a few minutes. I took out those two bearings that let me slide this tray right out, so I can sand the crap out of it and then paint it. And then in here, I'm just gonna sand that down a little bit. This corner I gotta pay special attention to because things got a little crazy in there, I can tell. And yeah, and I'm gonna got those kind of set up. I did some measuring, and all my cables are gonna work out. They got really nice handles on them, but I'm gonna take those off for once they're in. And so we're still plugging away at her here. Hope to be painting in about half an hour and give it some time to dry, and then I'll put it back together again, and then we will see what all happens. I think it should work out good. I just gotta check on some voltage for my charging. Gotta figure out how to make sure that that's right for the battery. Okay, I got this thing painted and reinstalled. It's looking pretty good. And I'm gonna start installing the battery. So it's a little crazy here with all these handles, but plus I gotta get some straps and tie them in yet. Flip off those ties, but we are online, and I just got to verify my charger voltages, but they seem to be in line. My absorption charge is right in between, right where it's supposed to be, so I just got to check my float charge yet once it gets to that point. They're charging right now, and so we'll go from there. Here's my bright idea. I didn't have any, I wanted to change my battery straps because the old ones, those ones are for the chassis battery. They don't look too bad, but the brackets were starting to rust. So, and the other ones for the house were totally shot. So for 12 bucks, I got 4 straps. It's no AutoZone, O'Reilly Auto Parts, none of them had battery straps. So I just modified them. I just cut off all the buckles and tighten them up, and those things won't go anywhere. It's not super clean, not super original, but it should do the job. Here we are at the water heater. I'm not going to get into the hot water tank debate at this point, but I'm flushing it out. I got my vinegar here, but I had this great idea on it. It's kind of embarrassing. I'm going to show you my anode rod. Look at that bad boy. Totally worn out or eroded, but it came out not too bad. I had to just muscle it with my wrench. Actually I used the big wrench, like with a long extension handle. And then I thought I'd get creative. You can see I've flushed it once already. See all that crap puppies. Anyway, so I had this awesome idea. I actually took off the relief valve, and I'm going, hey, that's where I'm going to put my vinegar in, so I don't have to pump it in with my other pump. And I also replaced my on-off switch down there because we've been having an issue where our we cannot heat our water with our AC. We just heat it with propane. So my next step here is I'm going to flush, because I just pulled this off and I can see there's a bit of stuff up in there. I'm going to flush it from that hole a little bit just to see what comes out. And then I'm going to put my new plug in and fill it up with vinegar. And I'm going to try and kick it on with my AC, see if it works. If not, I'm just going to heat it up with propane. And I'm going to replace, the next thing I'm going to do is replace this this element in there that could be fried too. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Oops, sorry. So this is the 5th gallon of vinegar. And I have a 10-gallon tank, and we're supposed to get about a 50-50 mix. But just to be safe, I'm going to put 2 more gallons, 7 gallons of vinegar in there. I'm going to put my new shut-off valve, or not shut-off valve. This is a relief valve. And the reason I did that is because our other one was kind of gross inside when I pulled it off, and then I just figured this would be an awesome way to get the vinegar in, so I don't have to pump it through my winterizing kit or anything like that. And just gives me another area to flush from. But I flushed it a little bit, so I'm actually going to put this in here, tighten it up, and leave it at this point. And then, because it came with a nice little sticky stuff on it already, the tape. And then we're gonna, my first attempt is going to be to fire up the AC, or the, not the AC, but the, yeah, like the electric heat. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to heat it up with propane and let it be hot for, I don't know, 4 or 6 hours before I drain it and let that cook away. But so as soon as the water tank and with the pump, so we'll have about, I'm assuming I'm going to lose a gallon just because I've had this open so long. There's going to be some air, so we should end up with a bit over 50-50 mix in there, because I'm assuming some vinegar is going to run into my other the hot pipes as we fill this thing up. But yeah, here we go. That should be good. Just put the heat shield back on. Now we are going to fill her up and heat it up. So here I'm just checking the valve here. Oh, it's starting to come out. So I'm gonna go turn the heat on. Actually, I'm gonna turn this switch on first. There. That's the new switch I put in. And then I'm gonna go turn the hot water on. There we go, we're doing it propane. My electric heater is still not working. So I got to get more parts. I think my element is fried. As soon as I turned it on, the breaker just went boom. And so we're going to heat it with propane. We've been heating with propane the whole trip. It was one of the things we knew that wasn't working when we bought it. And I also knew I bought my Anode in June when we left, and but I didn't have a wrench to take it out, and so I just put it off, and then finally I went and bought one, and it's actually, I should have done it a long time ago, or right, I should have done it the first thing. I should have done this maintenance on this sucker. But so we're gonna let her heat up. We're gonna let her heat up probably for till supper time or just before dark, and give that a good little bubbling. Rinse that out hopefully, and we'll have a fresher hot water tank. Okay, so as you can see, we are missing a hubcap, but here it arrived to our daughter's place in Phoenix, and I'm just gonna open it, and then we will have a new Spartan.
Hopefully, it's the right one.
Ready. Put on your sunglasses. Oh, it's Spartan on it. Big reveal. Oh, there's plastic. I don't want to. Look at that bad boy. Oh boy. Is it the same? I think ours have a glass thing. There we go. Shiny new hubcap. It's a Spartan. It's not a perfect match, but it's, you'd have to look very hard not to see that it wasn't perfect. Early on, even right when we started this trip in June, I had bought the Easy Tire pressure monitoring system, and I chinsed out and didn't buy the repeater, and lo and behold, it worked some of the time, but then eventually it would start beeping and I'd lose control, lose sight of my tow car. And so then I ordered a repeater to my daughter's place in Phoenix here. And so as you can see here, these lights work all the time, like if the coach is not running or running. So that might be a bad thing or a good thing, but because I don't think this thing's going to draw a lot of power. But I'm just going to splice into there, tack it there, and I'm going to screw this sucker up on my board here somewhere, or maybe I'll do it on here. Not sure yet. But they wanted it in towards the rear of the coach. I was thinking of hooking it right to my batteries, but these are such puny wires and I didn't have a good clip, so I'm going to go with this plan A. Plan B will be to put it onto my batteries. There you can see I got one on already on the ground, and I hate it that it's different colors, but black is ground and white is ground on the RV, and then the black is power and the red is power, right? So I didn't show that very good. Red is power, black is power. So that's what we're doing, and then hopefully we're gonna get that sucker working anyway. So this is a day of projects. Up in there, bad lighting, but the repeater is installed. Red light on. So tomorrow when we get rolling, let's see if it's gonna work. So the Easy Tires pressure system is picking up the tow car here.